Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to Voices. I am privileged and honored to be here today with First Lady Carla Manns, who is the First Lady of Appleton Sanctuary Outreach Ministry here in Appleton, Wisconsin. Today, First Lady and I really thank you so much for giving me the honor to be here with you. I want to talk to you today about two things.
Okay.
I want to talk to you about your legacy here in Appleton as being the first woman of color to be able to have a successful hair care and wellness business here.
Thank you.
And I also want to talk to you about your journey into the calling of becoming a First Lady.
Okay.
And how that informed your decision to write this great book, I Am My Sister's Keeper. Says that it was inspired encouragement for women of God.
That's right.
So let's start at the beginning. Let's talk a little bit about the journey that you took. And first of all, when you found that it was your calling to be a First Lady, talk to us about that journey.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you all for watching. I appreciate that, and I want to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. In the beginning, when I first met my husband now, I lived on a street called Appleton.
Okay.
And he invited me to church service. We having a friends and family church service. I want you to come. I said, well, where is it? We were living in Milwaukee at the time. He said, Appleton. So I thought, oh my gosh, I'd have missed a church here right on my own street.
Right.
We get in the car, we're driving, and I'm noticing we're getting on the freeway. And I'm noticing this taking time. So I called my mother.
Okay.
And I said, just want to let you know, I met this guy. This is his name. This is where I'm going.
yeah, let somebody know when you get them a milk carton.
You have to. And so that began my journey. When I came to Appleton Sanctuary the first time, I fell in love with it.
Okay.
And I've been going 22 years strong at Appleton Sanctuary.
That's a powerful testimony to talk about a place where you're going to go and worship and to help you really find who you are.
Absolutely.
So once you got into Appleton Sanctuary, what was it about that place that helped you to find where you are now?
I was connected with God on such a different level. I always knew who God was. I got baptized when I was 9. Then when I became a member of Appleton Sanctuary and learned about how strong of a relationship I could have with God, I was told to get baptized again. Because there was a period in my life when I wasn't living for Christ.
Okay.
And I felt that this was the best thing for me. I wanted to start a new journey, and I wanted to have a fresh start. So I went down in Jesus' name, and as I was in the baptismal pool, I got up speaking in tongues.
Oh, wow.
Right in the pool.
So you were transformed right then
Absolutely.
and there. You had that feeling, you went through the process, and then you were transformed.
Absolutely. I knew that was my church home. I loved how I was developing and how I was learning. I'm a person of, I need to keep learning.
Right.
Because I just feel like we definitely don't take advantage of how much brain power we have.
No.
And so I've always wanted to evolve. I've always wanted to be a better me.
Right.
So I kept going because I was seeing the progress. I was seeing how further I was getting along in Christ. And I began to have spiritual gifts and learn how to utilize those gifts for the kingdom.
That's what I really like about the whole book as I was reading through it, just to tie in how you have a gift in life, and we don't always tap into it. Oftentimes we do every single thing around it. And then you wrote in your book, one of the things is that, you said that you had to let go. And we usually walk around on autopilot. And the one thing I was talking to one of my friends about is that the ego that we have is so much bigger than us, and we really don't ever want to give it up.
No.
So when you talk about the process of letting go, how do you do that? Because how do you give up that ego?
Well, one of the things you have to do is recognize that you are in this world. You are. But this is not your final destination. And so for me, I had to decide, did I want to live a life that was poured out for the people that were here, or was my final destination going to be heaven? And it was heaven. And so I said, you know what? The only way I'm going to make it in is if I let go and let God just completely do what he want to do with me.
Okay.
And so to be able to, I was okay in life. I was doing okay. But I knew that I wasn't tapping into how great I could be.
Okay.
And so I said, God, I surrender. Use me as you please. But make sure if you take me out of here, I'm okay with that. My family's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as I get to heaven, that is my final goal.
That's really interesting that you say, as long as I get to heaven, that's my final goal. Because one of the things that happens in corporate America is every year people have to set these SMART goals. You have to be specific, measurable, they have to be actionable. It's got to be something that's realistic, and
Time
it has
parameters.
to be and time driven. It's amazing that most of us are going through life and we don't have a SMART goal that we've actually sat down, drafted out a plan, and talked about it. I saw a quote from somebody that said that people would rather work 40 years for someone else and stay broke all their lives than to spend 2 to 5 years planning out their own life.
Wow.
So as I was going through your book, the one thing I really liked about it is I was telling Kanan Davenport, shout out to Kata Barber over at Taper's Barbershop.
Kay's a good guy. He's a good guy, man of his word. I love Kay.
Amazing. So what happens is we were talking about how people go through processes in life and they end up somewhere and they wonder how they got there. In your book, you literally lay out, this is what I really liked about this book as I was reading through it, without going through detail by detail, you laid out the vision that you had and you backed into it. And I was saying to people the other morning when I was on Instagram, I was saying, you know, if you really want to walk to the front door, you put one foot in front of the other. And you actually see when you're looking out the window kind of direction that you want to go to. But there was another piece that you gave to people. You told them to listen to the voices. What were the voices that you were hearing? And tell us some of the things that you were hearing that were driving this journey that you were on.
Well, God has given us so many talents. My sister-in-law, I love her to pieces. When she was younger, she used to say, I need you to invent something. I need you to invent something. I said, why? Because I want to be a millionaire. And I thought about it. I'm like, wait, so you want me to invent something so that you can be a millionaire while I sit on the sideline and wait? And I told her, I said, my brain don't work like that. I am not the creative type person where I can just come up with something. What I am is a problem solver.
Okay.
You give me a problem, I give you 4 or 5 different options on how to get through it and how to move past it. And so for me, when I asked God to utilize me as He pleased, He began to tell me about this book.
Okay.
I want you to create a book. It's going to help so many women. It's going to help them move past their struggle. It's going to help them if they have to start over. And so I said, okay, that's fine. I would hear God say, get up. I would get up in the morning. I had a regular routine. I would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. The house is quiet.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a wife, so I make sure my husband good. I'm a mother, so I make sure my kids is good. In the morning was my time.
Okay.
So I would get up in the morning and I would pray to God and say, pour into me what you want me to put out into this book.
Okay.
And that was my motivation. I love that quiet time when it was just He and I. In constant communication. Write this. And I was like, oh, this is good. This is real good. And I yearn for that every morning.
Okay.
And so that was the motivation to keep going.
Wow, that's powerful, because I often joke with people and say there's 6 people living in here and I'm listening to different voices each day, you know, but I totally can relate to you, because I can tell you that one time I was in a house fire and literally the voice that said to me going out, it saved my life. So I tell people that I walked through fire, amen, to get here, to be here with you. Yeah, I thought about it, but I said it allowed me to even be able to be here with you today and hear you share your story with everybody.
You know, I want to just point out one thing about that. I think, you know, so many people are afraid to hear the voice of the Lord because they don't know what He's going to say. But in what you experienced, it didn't scare you.
No.
It motivated you to move.
Yes.
And it saved your life.
Absolutely.
God will let you hear Him, motivate you to move, and He will save your life.
And like you said, the first thing is that when you're visioning something and you're thinking about what are the options for us to do things, and usually we try to take it on ourselves and everything. And when we hear the voices in our head trying to tell us something, we've been conditioned to think it must be something wrong with you. You're hearing voices. You know, self-talk and conscience can be a very powerful thing, especially if it's used right.
Absolutely.
What I really liked though is as you was going through here and you were talking about your vision and the fact that you saw this book, you felt it, you
Yes.
heard it, you know, and it wasn't an overnight process. Literally,
No.
how long did you spend writing, and from start to finish?
It took me 1 year.
Okay.
And you know, I'm a woman of completion.
Okay.
I don't like when things are not finished. So I was writing, and God put me on pause.
All right.
And I didn't understand why. I was like, oh my gosh, is it something that I'm doing? Is it something that, you know, my head is getting too big? Because I was telling everybody, part of my background in education is marketing.
Okay.
So one of the things you do is you begin to tell people about your project.
Yeah.
So I was telling everybody, so I was like, am my head getting too big? What is going on? It was all in God's timing. So because I get choked up every time I think about it, but because I started at a certain time, I started in 2012. Okay. I did not finish and get it done until 2019, which was 7 years of completion. And that's in 2012, that's when God gave me the vision of it. And in 2019, that's when it came to pass. Had it been Carla's way, it would have been done in 2018.
Okay.
So I love how God just, when we say order our steps,
yes,
and we say, God, you have complete control, no matter what, and He does it, then the tears come, you know, you're appreciative, and God gets all the glory.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you. That's a profound, enlightening statement, and because the purpose of what I'm really doing is to engage in dialogue that enlightens people as to the process that one might take in order to reach their goals. Because we hear about the law of attraction, but we don't hear enough about digging into the details of how to make things manifest.
Right.
The unfortunate thing is that with social media and the various ways that you can get inundated with all of the messages telling you you can be this, you can do this, they all want you to buy something in order to be that. And here you are saying, there's a plan, it's already been laid out for you, you just need to stop and listen, and you don't have to pay anything because the price has already been paid for you.
Hello? Will you say that?
It made me just feel so good in there. And then when I saw your prayer of purpose, I felt like you gave us such an eloquent prayer. What do you say to anyone who says, well, I don't know how to pray like you?
The beauty of the prayers at the end of each chapter is it gives you the beginning tools to learn how to manifest your prayer.
Yes.
So the beautiful thing about God is He loves us right where we are. So I tell people, just start with having a conversation. Go to the Bible and do the Lord's Prayer. That is your jump start to how you can maneuver your prayer towards you and make it personal.
Right.
God isn't asking for us to do everything exactly the same, because your prayer, it has a different meaning for what you want to do than my prayer.
Yeah, because my conversation should be different. Each conversation should be unique from person to person. So I totally agree with you that if I try to can or script the prayer, it's not authentic, and then I'm not truly being who I could be in order to get what I truly need from the Lord.
Your focus is not the Lord. Your focus is, do I sound
sound okay?
Do I sound like Him? You know, and that's the beautiful thing about us. There's so many churches. There's so many churches. There's so many places you can go for worship. God says, as long as the relationship is there, as long as your belief is there, then the communication can happen.
Right.
So that's the main point. But I love how God structured each prayer according to the end of each chapter. Then that way you feel good about what you pray. You have an essence of what to pray.
Right, right.
And that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to give you the tools to help get you started.
It's a great reference book, and it's funny that you say tools, because that was what I wrote down when I was thinking about what this book was. I was saying that, you know, this is a self-help, self-development, a self-validating, a refreshing kind of tool that you can actually go back to. And you just brought up a really good point about the fact that the prayers are geared to specifics. So if there's some area of my life that I want to find where I need to be enlightened or enriched, I can go to your book and be inspired and uplifted. And that really is the purpose of this.
Absolutely.
I want to just segue a little bit into something I like called closing the quadrant. I know and
I like that. I don't even know what it is, but I like it.
Me, the way that I always like to incorporate things that I learned from corporate. I like to incorporate things things that I learned from street and also from just engaging in dialogue with people. And
That's
I remember
why God created you.
Oh.
You well-rounded.
I
love
tried.
that. I love that.
I tried. With the training and development background, we talked about these quadrants in life, and people get all caught up in the things that they don't know, and the one that people are always trying to close is the quadrant of the unknown. And what I mean by that is people really don't know the things that they do not know yet. You really don't know that you know them until you know them, because now you know them. That's how you know you didn't know it in the past.
Right.
So how do you grapple with the unknown things that you know that might have to be done by you? You really don't even know what they are yet.
You know, so God, when He birthed this into me in 2012, He gave me the instructions in a vision.
Okay.
So I saw myself on a platform, on stage, before thousands of women sharing information about this book. And the way God works is, I'm so happy He didn't tell me step by step, because I'd be like, I don't know if I can. But the fact that He gave me enough nuggets for me to be inspired to move forward, knowing that if God has given you a specific plan, it won't fail.
No, it won't.
Now, if Carla had a plan, you know, it's about 50-50. But when God gives you
that's
a
on a
plan,
good day, right?
You know what I mean? But if God gives you a plan, it will not fail. All you have to do is be willing to work the plan. Now, the beautiful thing about God is He won't just give you a plan and leave you.
Right.
So every time you have a question, or every time you don't know what direction to move, then you begin your prayer. God, now what is the next step? What is the next phase? What do I do? So for me, not knowing everything is okay.
Right, right.
Because I don't want to get spooked by anything. But the fact that I know at the end of it all that I'm going to be all right, and I'm going to be better than where I was before, I'm okay with that.
And that is a good philosophy, because what you're talking about now is trust.
Absolutely.
And trust and faith literally are sister and brother, or kindred spirits of one another. And I was telling someone, you talked about visioning. That is the first step, because again, you have to, I think about what engineers do. I think about when an engineer has to build a road.
Absolutely.
He's got the finished product of what that road should look like in his head already. He's going to go back and find this architect that can draw these things out. So the architect has got to connect with that person's vision. Then they have to find a construction crew to actually build the road. It's the same thing with buildings, and I marvel at this. And when I think about The Secret and all the other books, The Secret, The Power, Magic, Gratitude. For me, even if you have the secret to things and you're not grateful for what it is that you already have, things that aren't necessarily going to manifest.
Right.
I think in this book you walk us through a detailed explanation of, you know, how we can. What I really liked was the healthy crop analogy.
Yes.
Okay. So as you were visioning, you were thinking about this crop analogy, and then you laid out all the metaphors for us so that we could be reaping in the natural and in the spiritual.
Absolutely.
And when I was thinking about it, I was thinking about organic fruit. And I wanted to think in the natural realm and in the spiritual realm. What can we take from this book to help keep the insects out, the chemicals out? Because, you know, like you talked about gossip coming into your world. To me, that's a form of an insect. You talked about backbiting and jealousy and things, and those can be chemicals that we've already taken in some kind of way. We've gotten them attached to us. But how are you going to lead us and help us keep those chemicals and those insects out of our lives?
You know, it's all about who you keep as your company. Okay. Do you know what I mean? And in life, even when my children were little, I have 3 children. When my children were little, I monitored kind of who they brought in my house. Okay. I monitored kind of who they were attaching themselves to, because, you know, people who have issues, they love to bring you their issues. Oh, yeah. And so my inner circle, you have to be either on the same spiritual level, you trying to get to heaven, you know, you want the best things in life. I surround myself by successful people. I'm not to say, you know, if someone comes up to me and they have an issue, I'm going to turn them away. No, my job is to see how I can help get you to the better place too. I'm all about, especially women. I love men, I do, but I think if I can help another sister help develop who she is, then she can go and help somebody else. You know, she is the nurturer in the family. She can help develop the children. She can help keep her husband or her mate, whoever, keep him intact. And so it's good for me to, you know, surround myself by positive people. But I don't want you to just be positive. I want you to be doing something.
Right.
I want you to be helping somebody else, because I love, you know, passing it forward and moving it forward. I think that's one of the best things that we could do as a community. We say we serve an all-inclusive God, but we exclude people all the time.
Yes, we do.
And that's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be helping each other and being a witness. And so what I do is I surround myself by people that are doing great things.
I totally like that philosophy, because as we were talking earlier about all the negative messages, the whole angry black woman myth, and all of the shows, the real, and the bad thing about it is they have the word "the real" in front of it. The Real Housewives of here, the Real Housewives of that, and so then you have, of course, with us being women of color, we have representation from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. We've got the ones in Potomac, and it's not necessarily them paying it forward. Now these women have a great platform to really share with you, process step by step, do this. Each week they could be doing something, but that's not what's going to get ratings and viewing. So here in your little space, what I really like about the whole beauty shop, barbershop arena is because I always like to say, you guys are your own wellness centers. I said they're hidden figures because they're hidden psychiatrists and psychologists.
Yes.
You get an opportunity to have people sit in your chair, and you get an opportunity to change the direction in which they're going. And then you talked about your frequency. So when you're sitting people in the chair and you got that energy and you got that ear, how can you inspire people, or what are some of the things that you say to people? Because I know people pour out their life stories to you.
They do.
So you're using this platform. Tell me some of the things that you really do when you're having these conversations with people, and how you direct them and help them move forward. And maybe you've seen changes in some people. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that, because your clients are not like coming in once and then they're gone.
That's correct. Well, the beauty about the salon industry and the barber industry is that we are one of the businesses that actually physically touch people. And so because of that, there is a barrier that is broken. There's physical contact.
Right.
So then when you come and you sit in my what I call truth chair,
okay,
you get a chance to just be free. You come in, you don't have to worry about work, you don't have to worry about your family, it's your time.
Okay.
And when you come in, it's all about you. Most barbershops and salons, you know, they have where you can do individuals, or you have multiple people at once.
Right.
Well, the space that I have here is I have where I do most of the time one person at a time. So once they're here, the curtains are closed, this is their space. And so they have my undivided attention, and they get a chance to just talk. Sometimes I don't even really do a lot of talking. It's just letting them vent. And then if they ask for my guidance or what my opinion is, then I give it to them.
And I think, like you said, this space, I was as we were talking.
Very encouraging, right?
It's very encouraging for open, authentic, transparent dialogue and the opportunity to build a relationship. What you've done is created a safe space for people where they feel compelled, for lack of a better word, to open up and spill their guts about their pains, their sorrows, their loves, and their longing.
Absolutely.
You know, and so that's what the beauty of it is about. I'm going to transition here and talk about how you manifested the love of your life. We didn't get into that, but I see a lot of women now that are really, really at a point where you read a lot of magazines that tell you that there's no hope for black women, there's no hope for black women over 40, and if you're over 50, you can forget it.
Right.
So, but when we talk about the whole acronym for voices, like I said, it's like, what is the vision that you had? What were the opportunities or the options you had for it to to make it be something real?
Mhm.
What type of information or input did you have to get?
Mhm.
You know, the communication that was involved, education, and then how has this served you? So that's how we're going to loop back around. So when you were envisioning a relationship and the type of person that you want to have, they say make a list of all the characteristics, because some people will say that if you speak it into the universe, it will occur, but others say that it starts with a thought. You write something down, and that's been my experience, that what gets written down actually happens. So take me through this manifestation and vision of the past.
Right behind you on this side. So let me, yep, last button. So what happened is I was at a place in my life where I was tired of going through the motions.
Okay.
Right? And so I would meet someone, you know, we would decide to be together, and then God was not in the midst of that.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? I need a break.
You needed a time
You
out.
know
You
what
put
I mean?
yourself in time
Let
out.
me figure out what Carla wants to do. And women, if we would just take a moment and figure out who we are, because when you get into a relationship and it's a serious relationship, you begin to cater to the person that you're in a relationship
Yep,
with.
you do.
And you begin to lose identity. And if you don't be careful, years can go by, and then you wonder, what happened to my dreams? What happened to my hopes? And so I didn't want that for myself.
Okay.
So I said, I need to find someone that is godly, and I need to find somebody who wants the same things in life that I do. So I made a list, girl.
That list ain't no joke, is it? It ain't no joke. It works.
That list is powerful. So I made me a list. I put specifics
Okay.
on that list.
You have to really get down